Welcome to my channel. Have you ever wondered why stories from every part of the world talk about good versus evil? Why does every hero have a villain? Why do we love watching this battle again and again? Today, we are going to explore one of the most powerful ideas in human history, the battle of good versus evil. But this is not just about heroes in movies or ancient myths. It is also about us, our choices, our language, our history, and even our future. This topic is full of meaning, and you will see how it connects to your everyday life. So, stay with me till the end. You will see how much English you can learn through this deep and exciting journey. Chapter 1: The Ancient Story. Where it all began. The battle of good versus evil is not a new idea. It is one of the oldest stories in human history. Thousands of years ago, when people lived in small villages, before there were phones, books, or the internet, they told stories. These stories helped them understand the world. They asked questions like, why does the sun rise? Why do bad things happen? What is right and what is wrong? And in many of these stories, people explain the world using one simple idea. There is a fight between good and evil. In ancient Persia, there was a religion called Zoroastrianism. It is one of the oldest religions in the world. In this belief system, there are two powerful forces: Ahura Mazda, the god of light, truth, and goodness, and Angra Mainyu, the spirit of darkness, lies, and evil. They are always fighting. People believed that every person had to choose which side they would follow, light or darkness. Isn't that interesting? Even more amazing, this belief is over 3,000 years old. But this idea didn't only exist in Persia. In India, there is an epic story called the Ramayana. In this story, the hero, Rama, fights a powerful demon king named Ravana. Rama stands for truth, kindness, and duty. Ravana represents pride, anger, and selfishness. Their battle teaches people how to live with honor and how to fight evil without becoming evil. Even today, people in India celebrate this story every year with a festival called Dussehra. Let's move to ancient Egypt. The Egyptians believed in a balance between Ma'at, which means truth and order, and Isfet, which means chaos and evil. They believed that if people did too many evil things, the world would fall into disorder. So their stories were not just for fun. They were a way to keep society strong and peaceful. And of course, in Greek mythology, we see many gods and monsters. One of the most famous stories is about Zeus fighting against the Titans, who were powerful and dangerous. Zeus wanted to bring order to the world. The Titans wanted to rule with power and fear. This is another form of good versus evil. Here's a big moment to think about. Even though these cultures were so far apart, India, Persia, Egypt, Greece, they all told similar stories. They didn't have the internet or television. They didn't even know each other existed. Still, they believed in the same basic idea. There is a struggle between good and evil, and every person must decide which side they are on. Why do you think that is? Maybe it's because people everywhere, in every time and place, have seen both good and bad things in life. They have seen kindness and cruelty, love and hate, peace and war. And so, they created stories to help them understand it. These stories help them teach children, guide adults, and pass on values. Learning English through these stories is also very powerful. You learn nouns like hero, villain, battle, and truth. You learn verbs like fight, defend, attack, and protect. You learn adjectives like brave, evil, strong, and wise. These words are not just part of English. They are part of human culture. Let's look at one simple sentence from this chapter. The hero fights for what is right, even when it is difficult. This sentence teaches you grammar, vocabulary, and a life lesson, all at once. So, what do we learn from Chapter 1? The battle of good versus evil is not just from one place. It is a universal story. It connects us as humans. It teaches us that every culture, every religion, every language has tried to answer the same question. How do we know what is good? And how do we fight evil without becoming evil ourselves? This idea is not just old, it is timeless. And in the next chapter, we'll see how this battle becomes even more personal when we talk about heroes and villains, the people who show us what good and evil look like in action. Chapter 2: Heroes and Villains. Symbols of good and evil. In every story about the battle between good and evil, we find two important characters, the hero and the villain. These two are not just people in a story. They are symbols. The hero stands for courage, truth, and kindness. The villain stands for fear, lies, and cruelty. They show us what happens when a person chooses to do what is right or what is wrong. But what makes someone a hero? Is it superpowers? Is it being strong? Not always. In fact, many heroes are just ordinary people who decide to do the right thing even when it is hard. A hero can be someone who tells the truth when everyone is lying. A hero can be someone who helps others even when they are afraid. Being a hero means making a choice, and learning this idea helps us understand the meaning of character, both in stories and in real life. Let's take a look at some famous heroes from around the world. You may know Harry Potter, a boy who chooses to fight against evil even though he is young and afraid. He faces many dangers, but he never stops fighting for his friends and what is right. Then there's Frodo from The Lord of the Rings. He is small and not strong, but he has a good heart. He carries a heavy burden to destroy evil and protect the world. And of course, there's Spider-Man, who learns that with great power comes great responsibility. All these heroes have something in common. They choose to do good. They don't just want to be famous. They want to help others. They face fear, pain, and even loss, but they keep going. That is the heart of a true hero. Now let's talk about villains. A villain is not just someone who wears black clothes and laughs in a scary voice. A villain is someone who makes selfish or cruel choices. They hurt others to get what they want. But here's something very important. Many villains do not start out evil. Some of them become evil because they are angry, jealous, or afraid. They believe they are doing the right thing, but they are not. Take Darth Vader, for example. He was once a good person named Anakin Skywalker. He wanted to protect the people he loved. But over time, he made bad choices. His fear and anger turned him into a villain. This shows us that evil is not always loud or sudden. Sometimes it comes slowly, through small choices. This is a powerful moment in the video, because it teaches a lesson. We are all capable of good and evil. We make choices every day, and those choices shape who we become. Another great example is the Joker from Batman. He doesn't want power or money. He wants chaos. He wants to prove that anyone can become evil if they suffer enough. He is the opposite of the hero. Where the hero builds, the villain destroys. Where the hero gives hope, the villain brings fear. In English, we use many words to talk about heroes and villains. Try to remember these words. Hero, brave, kind, loyal, strong, honest. Villain, selfish, cruel, greedy, dangerous, tricky. And here are some common verbs we use in these stories. The hero fights for justice. The villain tries to destroy the world. The hero saves the people. The villain lies and tricks others. Let's practice a sentence. The hero protects the weak, even when he is afraid. This sentence uses a strong verb, protects, an adjective, weak, and shows courage, a key idea in hero stories. There's also something interesting to notice. Sometimes heroes make mistakes. Sometimes villains show feelings like sadness or regret. This makes them feel real. A perfect hero is hard to believe. A complex hero is more powerful. The same is true for villains. When we see their pain or their past, we understand them more, but we still see their choices. In many cultures, heroes are not just fighters. They are healers, teachers, or even peacemakers. And villains are not just monsters. They can be kings, leaders, or even friends who turned against us. This makes stories more real, more deep, and more human. So, what do we learn in this chapter? Good and evil are not just about magic or monsters. They are about people and the choices they make. We see this in books, movies, and even in our own lives. Every time we stand up for someone, tell the truth, or help others, we become a little more like the heroes we admire. In the next chapter, we will go even deeper. We will stop looking at the outside world and start looking inside. Because the real battle between good and evil is not only out there, it is also happening inside every one of us. Chapter 3. Inside the Human Mind, Good and Evil in Us. So far, we have talked about ancient stories and powerful characters like heroes and villains. But what if I told you that the biggest battle between good and evil is not in books or movies? It's inside you. Yes, inside your own mind. Every day we make many small decisions. Some are easy, like what to eat or what to wear. But others are not so easy. Should I tell the truth or lie? Should I help someone or walk away? Should I forgive or stay angry? These are the real battles of life. And they don't need swords or superpowers or magic. They only need one thing: a choice. Inside every human being, there are two voices. One voice says, be kind, be honest, do the right thing. The other voice says, think only about yourself. Don't care about others. Take the easy way. These voices are not good or evil creatures. They are parts of us. We all feel them. This is very important for English learners to understand, not only as an idea, but also as a way to talk about feelings in English. Words like kindness, anger, fear, love, and jealousy help us express what's happening inside us. These are not just vocabulary words. They are real human experiences. Let me share a short story that might sound familiar. There was once a young boy named Rami. One day at school, Rami saw a classmate drop his wallet. No one else saw it. Inside the wallet, there was money and an ID card. Rami picked it up. For a second, he thought, I could keep this. No one will know. But then another thought came, what if this happened to me? I would be so sad. I should return it. Rami gave the wallet back to the classmate. His friend was very thankful. That night, Rami felt proud. Not because someone saw him, but because he did the right thing. This small story teaches a big lesson. Good and evil are not only found in big battles. They live in the small choices we make every single day. In psychology, there is an idea called moral conflict. It means feeling two different things at the same time. You want to help, but you are afraid. You want to be honest, but you fear the result. Everyone feels this, no matter what language they speak or where they come from. This is part of being human. Learning English through these ideas helps you connect your feelings to words. For example, I feel guilty because I lied. I feel proud because I helped someone. I was tempted to do something wrong. I had to make a difficult decision. Let's practice a sentence. Even though no one was watching, she chose to do the right thing. This sentence is powerful because it teaches not only grammar and vocabulary, but also values. You see, the real power of language is not just speaking, it's thinking and feeling in a deeper way. When you learn how to talk about right and wrong, good and evil, you learn how to talk about real life. You become stronger, not just in English, but as a person. Here's another important idea. No one is good all the time, and no one is evil all the time. People make mistakes. They feel regret. They also grow. A person who made a bad choice yesterday can make a good one today. This gives us hope. In fact, many of the greatest heroes in stories are not perfect. They feel fear. They fall. But they rise again. That's what makes them human. And it's also what makes you strong. The battle inside you does not mean you are weak. It means you are alive, and you have the power to choose. Here are a few more useful words and phrases to remember. Conscience, the little voice that tells you what is right or wrong. Temptation, the feeling of wanting to do something bad. Regret, the sad feeling after doing something wrong. Redemption, when a person changes and becomes better. So what do we learn in this chapter? The most important battle is the one we fight every day inside our own minds. Good and evil are not only in stories, they are in our thoughts, our feelings, and our actions. We are not born good or evil. We become who we are through our choices. And when you learn to speak about these things in English, you're not just learning a language. You're learning how to express who you are and who you want to be. In the next chapter, we will explore how the words we use, the language of good and evil, can change how we see the world. Words can heal or hurt. They can inspire peace or start a war. So, stay with me, because this next part, will open your eyes even more. Chapter 4: The Language of Good and Evil. Words that shape belief. Have you ever thought about how much power your words have? Sometimes, we believe that good and evil are only about actions. Fighting, stealing, saving, helping. But words are actions too. And in many cases, language is where the battle of good and evil truly begins. Let's start with something simple. Imagine someone says, "He is a freedom fighter." Now imagine another person says, "He is a terrorist." Both people may be talking about the same person, but the words they use create two very different pictures in your mind. This is the power of language. It can make someone look like a hero or like a villain just by changing a few words. This is why it's so important to learn how language shapes belief, emotion, and even action. Words can teach people what to think. Words can also trick people into believing lies. In this chapter, we will explore how words are used in stories, in the news, in politics, and even in everyday life to build ideas of good and evil. Let's start with vocabulary that often shows up in the language of good: brave, honest, kind, loyal, selfless, wise, just, heroic. And the language of evil: cruel, selfish, dangerous, corrupt, violent, twisted, heartless, evil-minded. We often use these words in news, movies, books, and conversations. For example, she made a brave decision to stand up for what was right. He is a corrupt leader who only cares about power. Their act of kindness was truly selfless. The villain's plan was twisted and cruel. As an English learner, when you understand these words, you also understand how people try to shape meaning. You learn how stories are told and how beliefs are built. Let me give you a real-life example. During war or political conflict, leaders use language to build support. They might call their country's actions peacekeeping missions, while calling the other side aggressors or threats. But both sides are using language to control emotion. They want people to feel anger or pride, fear or hope. Here's a spike moment in this chapter. In 1963, Martin Luther King Jr. gave a famous speech called "I Have a Dream." He used simple but powerful words like freedom, justice, brotherhood, and peace. These words helped to change minds and hearts. His speech was not just emotional, it was moral. He used language to fight evil without ever raising his voice in hate. Now compare that to dictators in history who used hate-filled speeches. They used words like enemy, threat, and pure. These words created fear and division. People followed them, not because they were right, but because the language made them feel like it was right. This is why learning English is more than grammar. It's about thinking critically. When you hear someone speak, ask yourself, what words are they using? Are those words kind or cruel? Do they make me feel angry or hopeful? Are they trying to bring people together or tear them apart? This is how we become smart speakers and smart listeners. Let's practice a sentence together. Words can build bridges, or they can start wars. This sentence is short, clear, and powerful. It teaches you about the role of language in creating peace or conflict. And it's a sentence you can use in real discussions. Another example. A kind word can change someone's day. A cruel word can ruin it. Again, we see how language is a tool. You can use it to heal or to hurt. Here are a few more useful English phrases related to this theme. Talk behind someone's back, speaking negatively in secret. Speak up, to say something brave or important. Hold your tongue, to stay quiet, even when angry. Poisonous words, words that hurt deeply. Words of wisdom, kind and smart advice. Even in our everyday lives, we use language to choose good or evil. You can encourage someone or insult them. You can spread gossip or spread kindness. You can tell the truth or lie to protect yourself. These are small choices, but over time, they create your character. So, what do we learn from this chapter? Words are not just tools for grammar tests. They are weapons or healing hands. The way we use English or any language can shape our world. You must choose your words the same way a hero chooses their actions, with care, honesty, and courage. In the next chapter, we'll look at how the battle of good and evil continues in the media. Movies, books, cartoons, and even video games. This is where stories become visual, emotional, and very real. You'll see how entertainment teaches us right from wrong, even when we don't notice it. Chapter 5. The Media and Movies. The Modern Battlefield. Today, we don't sit around fires listening to ancient myths like people did long ago, but we still tell stories. Now we watch them. We watch them in movies, on TV, in anime, in video games, and even on social media. The battle of good versus evil has not disappeared. It has just moved into a modern battlefield. And it's everywhere. Think about the last movie or show you watched. Was there a hero? A villain? A moment when someone had to make a difficult choice between right and wrong? Probably yes. This is because the idea of good and evil is still one of the most powerful things in storytelling. It makes us feel, it teaches us lessons, and it keeps us watching. That's why so many movies follow this theme. And the good news? While you watch these stories, you're also learning English, especially if you start to notice the language behind the action. Let's start with some well-known examples. In the Marvel Universe, we have characters like Iron Man, Captain America, Spider-Man, and Black Panther. These heroes are not perfect. They have fears, doubts, and problems. But what makes them heroes is how they react when things go wrong. They choose to protect others. They stand up, even when they are tired or afraid. On the other side, you have villains like Thanos, who believes his evil actions are necessary to save the universe. He doesn't laugh like a cartoon villain. He is calm, smart, and scary. Why? Because sometimes the most dangerous evil is the one that sounds reasonable. This creates a moment of curiosity. Why do we sometimes feel a little sympathy for the villain? Why do we sometimes question who the good guy really is? That's when storytelling becomes deeper, and it teaches us not just about language, but about human nature. Let's look at some useful phrases and vocabulary from superhero and movie stories. Face your fears. To do something even though you are afraid. Take a stand. To defend your beliefs. The greater good, the best for the most people. Moral dilemma. A hard decision between two bad or two good things. turn to the dark side, to become evil after being good. We see these ideas in movies like Star Wars, where Anakin Skywalker begins as a hero but slowly becomes Darth Vader. His journey is not just a fight, it's a slow fall. He makes choices based on fear and love, but in the wrong way. The language in Star Wars is simple, but powerful. Think about lines like, "Fear leads to anger. Anger leads to hate. Hate leads to suffering." This one sentence teaches grammar, vocabulary, and a deep life lesson. That's why stories like this are great for English learners. They give you language and wisdom together. Another example is The Lion King, a movie that almost every child watches. In it, Simba must face his past, forgive himself, and fight for his people. Scar, the villain, uses lies and manipulation to get power. This story is filled with useful words and phrases like, "Run away and never return." "Remember who you are." "The circle of life." These lines are emotional, simple, and unforgettable, and they help English learners build confidence and connection with the language. Let's not forget about animation and anime. In shows like Naruto, My Hero Academia, or Attack on Titan, we see deep moral questions. Heroes are not just strong, they are kind, disciplined, and willing to sacrifice. Villains often have painful pasts, which makes their stories even more emotional. Anime often shows that the line between good and evil is not always clear, and that makes the story richer. Here's a sentence to practice from superhero stories. "Even if I fall, I will rise again and protect those who need me." This teaches determination, hope, and responsibility. Three powerful ideas in the language of good. Movies and shows also help you with listening skills. You hear natural English, real conversations, emotional expressions. And when you understand the story, you understand the meaning of the words much faster. So what do we learn from this chapter? The media we watch is more than just entertainment. It is full of powerful ideas and messages about good and evil. Every movie, every cartoon, every show is a chance to learn English in a way that feels exciting and emotional. But more importantly, these stories help us see the world more clearly. They help us understand courage, truth, love, loyalty, and justice, not just as words, but as actions and feelings. They teach us that we can all be heroes in our own lives. And now, we're ready for the final chapter. This is the part where we bring everything together and ask the most important question of all. What will you choose? Because at the end of every story, after every battle, after every lesson, the real power is in your hands. Chapter 6. The Future of Good and Evil. What will you choose? We have come a long way in this journey. We started with ancient stories. We met heroes and villains. We looked deep inside our minds. We learned how language can shape belief. And we explored how media brings this battle to life. But now comes the most important part, the future. And the future is not in the past, not in books or on screens. The future is you. The question is simple. What will you choose? The battle between good and evil is not just a story. It is real. It is happening every single day, around us and inside us. In your home, in your school, in your workplace, on your phone, in your heart. Every time you speak, act, or decide something, you are making a choice. Will you be part of the light, or will you let the darkness grow? This might sound dramatic, but it's true. Most of the time, evil doesn't come with fire or explosions. It comes in silence, when we see something wrong and do nothing. It comes in small lies, mean jokes, cold shoulders, and selfish choices. And good? It also comes in small, simple ways. A kind word, a helping hand, a decision to forgive, a choice to tell the truth when it's hard. These are not small acts. They are powerful, because they build the future. Let's take a look at history. Many people think that only kings or soldiers change the world. But that's not true. Sometimes, one peaceful person can stop a war with just words. One student can speak up and change a school. One kind stranger can save a life. That's what makes good so powerful. It spreads, it grows, and it inspires. Think about this sentence. Every small act of kindness is a victory in the war between good and evil. That's a sentence you can live by and learn from. You see, the words we use are not only for English practice, they are for action, for meaning, and for connection. Let's look at some new and useful phrases that describe these deep ideas. Lead by example. To show the right way through your actions. Stand up for what's right, to protect good, even when it's difficult. Do the right thing. To make moral choices, even when no one sees. Choose peace over pride. To calm a situation instead of making it worse. Be the change you want to see. A famous quote that reminds us, action starts with you. You may ask, but I'm just one person. What difference can I make? Well, every hero in every story started as just one person. Harry Potter, Frodo, Moana, Mulan, Katniss, Naruto. All of them were just individuals. They were afraid, they made mistakes, but they chose to act. They chose not to give up. And you have something even more powerful than them. You have knowledge. You now understand how good and evil work in stories, in culture, in the human heart, in language, and in media. You don't need a magic wand or super strength. You need courage, understanding, and purpose. As you learn English, you will meet many words, some beautiful, some painful. But the most important ones will always come back to these: truth, kindness, justice, respect, and courage. These are not just English words. They are universal values. You carry them with you in any language, in any place. Let's practice one final sentence together. I may not be a hero in a movie, but I can be a hero in someone's life today. That is the heart of everything we've talked about. That is the future of good and evil, your choice. So what will you choose? Will you be honest when it's hard? Will you help when no one is watching? Will you learn, grow, and become the kind of person who lights up the world around you? The battle continues, not in books, not on screens, but in real life, in your heart, in your words, in your actions, and in your future.